must be fought each day. My adversary is the world and Satan, who is the prince of this world. The world around me is not my home, and each day it becomes more a reflection of Satan, its prince. I am not ignorant to Satan's devices, and I understand that the world is designed for my destruction. The allurement of pleasure and the temptations that cross my eyes are for the purpose of robbing me of everything I have inherited through Christ. Every trap, every lust, and the pride that is in the world are set against me on all sides. The hope that I have is in patiently walking according to your word and staying firm to the covenant I have made with you. The world cannot strip me of my authority, but I can hand it over. I will not be deceived by what I see, hear, or how I feel. If it is not of God, then it is for my destruction. Help me, Lord, to see the spirit behind the temptation. The word tells me that Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus comes that I might have life and have it more abundantly. I rebuke and bind every influence that seeks to draw me away from you. For it is nothing more than a gateway to hell and will rob me of my eternal destiny. Father, I know you are able to do all things, and there is nothing that is impossible for you. Right now, Lord, I remember my first love, and I am prepared today to exercise faith in the light of circumstances. Sacrifice my own wants and desires in order to embrace yours. Stand on the word of God, even if it causes me to be peculiar. Deny my flesh and feelings regardless of the temptation, and not make decisions based on what I see or think. I will forget about the past and press towards the mark. I will walk as a prophet of God, put my head up, and if nobody is there to encourage me, then I will encourage myself. I will not be ashamed to follow the examples of Christ, even in the face of persecution. To think differently in the light of the negative labels and slander I may endure. Nor will I be afraid to take a stand in the minority, even if it seems as if the whole world is standing against me. I am willing to abstain when others are eager to participate, to speak out when my words may cause me to be ostracized, and to believe the Bible even when it is the unpopular thing to do. In other words, I am prepared to live like Jesus. I release my faith right now in the name of Jesus. Whatever situation I'm in, whatever I'm dealing with, and regardless of what odds are against me, I will be steadfast and unmovable. I am an elite company and encompassed about by a great cloud of witnesses. The words of this prayer will comfort me, build up my spirit, man, and encourage me in the way. In the name of Jesus and the power of his blood, I rebuke, bind, and cast down Satan and his forces of darkness from any involvement, activity, or distractions in this prayer. I commission my angels to come against every thought, feeling, influence, and hindrance that is set against me. I stand in the gap for my family and friends and pursue the Lord with all of my heart. Even as I hear the words of this prayer, my body is regenerating itself. My body is preparing itself for another productive day. My body is developing according to your plan, and health is being released in all of my organs, tissue, bones, bodily systems, veins, arteries, and muscle. My brain is processing the information consistent with your word and filtering out everything that is not of you. My heart is being protected from all ungodly influences, and my innocence is being guarded. I have and will always have a sound mind that is saturated in your word. In the name of Jesus and the power of his blood, I rebuke evil spirits from attaching to me in any way, shape, or form. They have no place, familiarity, or invitation in my life. They do not enter into my eyes, my ears, my mind, or my heart. My spirit, man, has victory over them all the days of my life. In the name of Jesus and the power of his blood, I rebuke, bind, and cast down and break all generational curses. I decree by the blood of the Lamb and the power given to me as joint heir with Jesus Christ that I will not be the victim of physical, mental, or emotional abuse, nor will I have, serve, or entertain idols or false gods. In the name of Jesus and the power of his blood, I decree that I am not a covenant breaker, and my yea is yea and my nay is nay. I pray, Lord, that you protect me from all hurt, harm, pain, and danger, and those that mean me ill will. In the name of Jesus and the power of his blood, I have the patience of Job, the meekness of Moses, the heart of David, the favor of Joseph, the ear of Samuel, the courage of Joshua, the wisdom of Daniel, the zeal of Peter, the love of John, the faithfulness of Abraham, and the boldness of Paul. I abide in the fruits of the Spirit all the days of my life, and even now these fruits are growing in me. Lord, help me to be a person of great faith, consistent in good deeds, and a constant encourager. I will continue to love you with all of my heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit, and to love my neighbor as myself. In the name of Jesus and the power of your blood, I pray, Lord, that you are first in everything that I do, and I have no to seek your face and authority to bring my members into subjection. I thank you for this moment and the opportunity that each day brings. I know that each day is special and I am empowered with unlimited potential. There are no ceilings on my life, obstacles that cannot be overcome, or barriers that can stand in my way. In fact, this is the greatest day of my life, and I am free to exercise all of the gifts and talents you have blessed me.
But when you put your money in the church
hopes and dreams can manifest today, and I approach this moment with great expectation for miracles, breakthrough, and deliverance. I stand before you, Lord, naked, offering no excuses or justifications for my shortcomings and weaknesses. I come, Lord, seeking your standard and not those of men. I pray that you will forgive me my sins, known and unknown. Forgive every thought, deed, action, motive, or intent of my heart that is not lined up with your word, your will, or your calling and purpose for my life. Please forgive secret faults and uproot any seed of discontent that has been planted in my life. Forgive me, Lord, if I have held back the tide, and give me a heart to restore every person that I have wronged. Just as you forgive me, I forgive those that have wronged me, and I let go of any aught, bitterness, or ill will that I have held in my heart. I will not allow sin and bitterness to cut off the flow of blessings into my life. I repent right now in the name of Jesus, and I receive the power of the blood to cleanse me from all iniquity. I come before you, Lord, with a heart that is after your own, and a mind that is stayed on you. I thank you, Lord, for saving me from myself and the consequences of sin. I surrender, Lord, and give you total and complete reign over my life. I willingly submit to you in thanksgiving and praise. I thank you, Lord, for the relationship and fellowship that you have allowed me to share with you. I thank you for every moment, prayer, word, and opportunity to gain revelation and understanding concerning you. Forgive me for the times I have taken you for granted, or moments where I've allowed my focus and discipline to slip. I choose you, Lord, in all of your benefits, and denounce all ties and fellowship with the world. I have no place in the world, and denounce everything that it offers. You have given me a choice, Lord, and I choose to be in covenant with you. I have crossed the line of no return, and I will not look back. Each day I am getting more and more like you and growing further and further from this world. My reality in Christ is more real than what my natural eyes behold, and I know that you are not a million miles away. You are right here with me every step of the way. I will have confidence in you, Lord, concerning every situation I face, every decision I make, and every temptation in my path. Give me an ear, Lord, to hear your instruction, eyes that will not be deceived, and a heart that will remain faithful. My life has been built on the foundation that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. You died on the cross for my sins, and your blood was shed for me. I exercise total faith and confidence in my belief that death was powerless to hold you in the grave, and that you rose again and resurrected every dead thing. I receive your resurrection power and declare that there is no dead thing in my life. I speak life in all things pertaining to me. Even now, Lord, I pray that you will breathe life into my relationships, my home, my dreams, my career, and my calling and purpose. Let there be no cracks in my foundation, and restore every bone that has been broken. I pray, Lord, that dead branches be pruned for me, and my harvest bear much fruit. I offer no resistance, and pray that all ungodly distractions be pruned from me, whether they are people, unhealthy relationships, environments, dead situations, ungodly influences, or anything that is not expedient for me. I distance myself right now from every dead thing and release them from my life in Jesus' name. I thank you, Lord, that I have inherited life through your sacrifice, forgiveness for my sins through your blood, revelation through your word, and I have been empowered by your spirit. I take precious time, Lord, to fully grasp and consider what my relationship with you means. Help me to never lose sight of the fact that I have an adversary that must be fought each day. My adversary is the world and Satan, who is the prince of this world. The world around me is not my home, and each day it becomes more a reflection of Satan, its prince. I am not ignorant to Satan's devices, and I understand that the world is designed for my destruction. The allurement of pleasure and the temptations that cross my eyes are for the purpose of robbing me of everything I have inherited through Christ. Every trap, every lust, and the pride that is in the world are set against me on all sides. The hope that I have is in patiently walking according to your word and staying firm to the covenant I have made with you. The world cannot strip me of my authority, but I can hand it over. I will not be
Welcome to
deceived by what I
Conversation with
see,
Zaki
hear, or
Baruti,
how
with your
I
host
feel.
Zaki Baruti.
If
And
it
like
is-
always, I want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's happening?
to the Universal African People's Organization family, what's going on, and to New Life Evangelistic Center family headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work, and a shout out to our cameraman Bob. On that note, we'll have another great show, because in studio with me is a young man that have known for a number of years now, who's a businessman, and his business is
King Prince Barbecue.
It's King Prince Barbecue.
Located at 2700 Union in the heart of North St. Louis City.
Okay, then on that note, I was having one of those senior moments.
Well, I just recently learned about those moments, turning 60, so I've been had a little experience with that as well.
Oh, you 60?
Yeah, I just turned 60 last month.
Well, you went behind the ears.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at 76, going on 77.
Don't look a day over 60 yourself.
Oh, you're so kind. I can't remember. I'm going to tell them, give you a little payment for that statement, okay? On that note, on a serious note, Prince, thank you for being in the studio with me.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to come on your program and share this platform with me before we get started. You have been a huge help in helping mold and groom me throughout the years as it relates to consciousness.
Okay, I thank you. In fact, for the audience, we have been knowing each other since mid-'90s. And how did, share with the audience the circumstances
back in 95, my nephew was premeditatedly murdered by then St. Louis police officer Eddie Sanchez. And it was you and others that came, because I was unconscious at the time, and I didn't have a lot of information.
And when you say unconscious, what you mean?
Well, when I say unconscious, I wasn't engaged in what was happening to our people in our community as a whole, and the ills and the injustices that we were truly suffering from.
Okay.
And so you and others helped mold me and groom me into going down the path of seeking justice for not only myself, but for my people and my community as a whole.
Right. And what was the end result of the situation? The officer was Eddie Sanchez. And give this
Eddie Sanchez, he shot Garland in the back, and he had throw down weapons and things of that nature in his patrol car when he hunted my nephew down like an animal and premeditatedly executed him. He was never held accountable. He did say that he wasn't going to resign from the police department, but because of people like you and others who helped enlighten me on the process, that we were able to apply the pressure that he eventually resigned, but he should have been prosecuted. He should still be in jail, but he's not.
Absolutely, and I always historically look at during that period we were protesting out of in front of the circuit attorney office at that time,
right.
D. Joyce Hayes. And I had a big sign that was shown in
it said terminate
racism, terminate D. Joyce Hayes. And in fact, I reached out to Donnell Smith, an attorney at that time, young black attorney.
Because you said, I can't be seen with this sign without following up.
Hey, you got that right. And terminate me and get rid of it.
So we are very appreciative of, and again, I can't say it enough, Brother Zaki. I don't know if you remember this, about a year or so ago, we had a conversation, and we were talking about how you were out here still on the front lines, because I had disengaged, and I was just doing the entrepreneur thing and just surviving, because I got frustrated with all of the protesting and so on and so forth, and you are still out here, and a lot of people don't know this, but you don't get paid for what you do.
Right.
And you do it out of the heart, the kindness of your heart, and if people have issues, they can come to you, and you help put together a strategy plan on how to fight it and how to address it, and you've been doing that free of charge for our community for decades, and I'm grateful for that, if no one else is.
Oh, I truly appreciate that. Now, you're a businessman, and again, where your business located, and how long have you been as a businessman?
I'm in 2700 Union. I've been in business now, this time, for 8 years, but I wanted to show you. I left St. Louis, as you very well know, for a number of years after my frustration with police brutality and so on and so forth. And when I came back, I wasn't able to find a job. And I kept harping over not being able to find a job, and got tired and frustrated, and decided to remember what my granddaddy told me when I was a kid. He said, when a man can't find a job, he's supposed to create one for himself. So I began the process of trying to create a job. And this is from April of 2009 when I first came back. I started out on the corner of West Florissant and Adelaide. And even then, the late, great Richard Onion Horton was still on the air. And I wish he was around now so he could have a platform to talk about some of this stuff. They then, and when I say they, I'm speaking in terms of the political structure, were attempting to punish me and keep me from operating. They kept shutting me down.
In the city of St. Louis?
In the city of St. Louis.
Okay.
And I kept going. I was determined not to give up. And eventually, they got tired for a minute and left me alone for a while. And I kept going.
And that's at the business on West Florissant?
On West Florissant and Adelaide. I was on Ron Jones parking lot.
Okay.
It was in April 2009.
The funeral home.
Right. And I keep this picture because this reminds me of how humble I am and know that God is still in the blessing business. And no matter what I do or what they try to do to me, God continues to keep his arms around me and I'm able to prevail every time. And so what I have been doing since then, that was coming up on 15 years ago, is trying to build business, to build generational wealth, so that if and when that time comes, that even my children or grandchildren can benefit from the labor that I've poured out and foundated. So what I'm doing now at this point in time is, again, not wanting to, but fighting for justice, a financial justice that was sent here for my people in my community. And I'm speaking in terms of the American Rescue Plan Fund.
Which we'll get into, but before we do so, we got to take a break.
I hope you're enjoying the Zaki Baruti Show. Now, we need your help to get the word out about this community affair program and so many others. Now, how do you do that? Well, you tell folks to turn to 24.2 on their television set, and even family, friends, relatives that live outside of the area, well, get them to put the NLEC TV app on their phones and look it up on their computer. 24 hours of wholesome family programming. So much community programming that you're not getting on other stations right here on NLEC TV. So please spread the word. And while you're doing that, continue to get involved in the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center. So many opportunities awaiting you and your family at this particular time. New Life Evangelistic Center is on the front lines with first responders, directly helping homeless people day after day after day. Behind me are the new headquarters for the New Life Evangelistic Center, along with the studios for NLEC TV or 24.2. You may want to drop by and visit them sometime. This is where we record the Zaki Baruti program at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. New Life Evangelistic Center is offering homeless people so many opportunities to be set free from the cycle of homelessness, has a wide variety of safe houses, and so many women and children are staying there, and they're learning all different kinds of different skills, all kinds of skills here at 2428 Woodson Road. We also have the training centers in New Bloomfield, Missouri, Marshfield, Missouri, the largest daytime walk-in facility, southwestern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas at 806 North Jefferson, in Springfield, Missouri, the worldwide work of the New Life Evangelistic Center in Calcutta, India, and then in Lagos, Nigeria, and in Haiti, all over New Life Evangelistic Center, trying to help people that are in need. New Life Evangelistic Center receives no city, state, or federal dollars, and we're only able to do this as a result of the prayers and involvement of caring people like you. So please pray for this work, and please partner with the New Life Evangelistic Center so we continue to keep the Zaki Baruti Show and the other community affair programs on the air. Remember, tell everyone you know about it, and go to the NLEC TV app.
When times are tough, we need to turn to God and trust Him. Right now, across the country, many are experiencing economic hardship. Maybe for the first time, people are having to strain in their budgets with their finances. There are so many people who are experiencing homelessness, and that number is going to continue to rise. You are needed right now to partner alongside New Life Evangelistic Center. You can make real change in the lives of men and women who are experiencing homelessness. By offering gospel-like love in word and deed, you can help holistically support men and women who are suffering in so many different ways. We need you now. Please call our center at 314-421-3020, 314-421-3020, and get involved today. You are needed. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In the studio with me is a longtime friend and business owner of
King Prince Barbecue, 2700
King Prince
Union.
Barbecue. Now, what address?
2700 Union.
And how long have you been in business there?
I've been in business this go-round for coming up on 8 years. Remember, I told you that I've been knocked down, shut down, kicked down, and it's always from a political structure in my own community that I love. I love my people. I love my community. I don't have a problem with the area that I'm in. I have a problem with the treatment and the injustices that we have to encounter from our political structure.
So with that said, you made mention on the other side of the break about the American Rescue Plan, and so are you satisfied with the American Rescue Plan? And what is the American Rescue Plan for our audience?
For the listening audience, when COVID struck, it devastated the world, not just us, but the world. Many people were shut down, confined, couldn't go to work. First time in my life I ever saw that mass, churches, synagogue, nobody was operating.
You're right.
It shut the country down. And as a result, there were residual effects behind that. And the American government recognized that. And they thought we always bail out other countries and send aid to other countries. We got to put some aid to our own people in our own United States right now, post-COVID. So they created what is known as the American Rescue Plan. Most folks call it ARPA. When you hear folks talking about the ARPA funds, that's money from that $1.9 trillion that was allocated to address some of the ills of post-COVID. So the federal government allocated $512 million initially for poverty-stricken areas and areas in the Hood Census Tract for the city of St. Louis, mostly North St. Louis.
How much?
$512 plus million.
Okay, for the St. Louis area.
That's for North St. Louis.
North St. Louis.
North St. Louis. So now, what you got to understand is how to get this money, because if you go back to March of 2001, the State of the Union address, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I sat that night and watched the State of the Union address, and many of the things that they said didn't resonate because I'm so used to and accustomed to being lied from politicians and misled and deceived by politicians. So I didn't believe what they were saying was true. The president said, we're going to have to, if we want to make our country all it can be and should be, we must start building from the bottom up. He said, starting with the Hood Census Tract. That's us.
And what is the Hood Census?
The Hood Census Tract is a poverty-stricken area and community of a given geographical area where it's mostly poor folks and disenfranchised people and people of color. Now we're not only being identified as people of color, it is, to my understanding, the approach that they're going to be taking in the days to come is to give us our true identity, which is indigenous people. That which is the people that have been stripped of their culture, their language, their heritage, and all these things we fall in the category of as a people in the community. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the disenfranchised people were sent monies through the ARPA funds to help correct some of the ills that we had been inflicted upon.
Okay, then. So money has been sent. St. Louis, when was this money sent?
This money was sent back in early 2001.
And the money to help people, how was the form of the money to be distributed
to help? If you listen to the State of the Union address, and I encourage people to pull it up because it's on YouTube.
And that State of the Union address was by the current president, Joe Biden.
It was Biden in March of 2001.
Right.
And one of the things I always harp on, I have a sense of pride in my integrity. And I always want to give accurate and truthful information.
Absolutely.
And I encourage, and anytime you hear me speak, I'm going to always encourage people. If you ever hear me say anything that's untruthful, anything that's false or wrong, I encourage people to correct me because I am correctable. I love to be corrected because I want to be accurate as possible. So if you go to March, the State of the Union address, the president spoke about the people that had deceived and frauded the PPP money that was sent out privacy. Remind you, we're in a crisis. Folks can't work. Folks can't get around. People panic. And some people took advantage of the system and frauded it and got money who didn't even have businesses.
Right.
So they wanted to correct that this time by now saying we're going to entrust local government to identify these people and expeditiously get them the monies so that they can help bounce back. The task was to identify the ills and challenges we had during COVID and get the necessary tools and resources to prepare for future streams so that we didn't have to shut down. They were trying to put things in place so if this stuff comes back, and it's coming, that we wouldn't have to, as a nation, shut down. We'll be in position to continue to operate through it. Our local government made an unconscious decision to sit on those funds, place them somewhere to get interest, and keep them from poor folks. There was money there for households, home improvements. There was money to like, we talk about how all these people were riding around with the expired tags and whatnot. Post-COVID, there was money allocated and available to address that ill. But the problem is that our local government did not do what it was instructed to do, and that was take this money, begin the process of rebuilding from the bottom up, and the president, if you go and look, don't take my word for it, he stated, this is not enough money. But get it started and sit back and tell us how much more you need.
So with that said then, so you're saying since 2021, am I correct?
Correct.
That this
American Rescue Plan money
has been sent to the city of St. Louis for the purpose of identifying the needs of North St. Louis, predominantly black area, indigenous people, and it has not been distributed.
It has been set on in a fund somewhere collecting interest.
Okay, on that note, we got to take another break.
Behind me is the New Life Evangelistic Center administrative offices in Overland, Missouri. And this is where we shoot our shows for our worship shows and the Here's Help Network. And it's also where Zakid Baroudi and Bernie Hayes shoot their shows. You can find all of these shows at the New Life Evangelistic Center app, the NLEC TV app. You can also access them on your tablet or on your computer. And this is how you can stay up to date with all the things that New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. There are so many different programs that we've got going on, and God is doing many exciting things through partners like you. So if you want to support the work that New Life is doing, then please access and give through the app. You can go online at nlecstl.org or give us a call at 314-421-3020. Again, 314-421-3020. But this is the best way to get plugged into the amazing work that New Life is doing through people like you. And so there is something for you to get involved in today. And we are so thankful for our partners. Only through the grace of God and your gift are we able to bless others today.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zakid Baroudi. In studio with me is a businessman that I've known for a number of years, Brother Prince Carter, who is the owner of
King Prince Barbecue, located at 2700 Union.
And he's laying out what he feels is a serious issue in our community.
A grave injustice, my brother.
I stand corrected. Okay. Then. And why you say it's a grave injustice?
Because at the time these funds were sent and allocated, we were going through a crisis. That money was sent to aid and assist us in getting out of and through that crisis. And
it has not been.
No, it still hasn't been. They're still holding that money. It's been 1,057 days to the date that this money has been held hostage from poor black folks in North St. Louis. Let me say that again, because I don't think you heard me. I said to this day, today, as of January 26, 2024, it has been 1,057 days that American Rescue Plan funds has been held hostage from poor black folks in North St. Louis City.
Now, let me ask this question, and that's from the political leadership. Is that the Board of Aldermen, the mayor's office? Who has the decision-making power to release the money?
Here's the deal. I'm just going to give it to you like it is. They've been passing the buck.
And who you saying?
I'm going to break it down to you.
Okay.
St. Louis Development Corporation is where allegedly the money was supposed to go to distribute. St. Louis Development Corporation is faulting the Board of Aldermen for tying it up, and the Board of Aldermen is faulting St. Louis Development Corporation. And the key thing about this is the mayor appointed those at St. Louis Development Corporation. So in my opinion, she bears responsibility for those that she chose and appointed to carry out this task. So if they're not, if me personally, if I got people on my team that's not doing what's supposed to be done in a crisis,
right?
Okay, I'm going to step in and get it done myself if I have to, but it's going to get done because there's no reason that when you're in an emergency stage that these people are out here suffering and they got funds awarded by the federal government and you're going to continue to sit on them.
Have you or any other organizations reached out to the mayor, the Board of Aldermen, and brought that to their attention?
According to my track, I've been reaching out to the mayor since she got in office.
And what kind of response have you been getting?
None existing.
She has not reached out, returned.
She every time I try to converse with her about it, she directs me to St. Louis Development Corporation. She won't even talk to me.
Okay.
At one time, she did have one of her staff members sit down with myself and Bill Monroe. We had went to her office. This was probably 2 years ago.
And what about any other organization? Are there other people out here that has the passion that you have as far as...
We are in the organizing stage right now. There are other business owners who are frustrated about this. Me personally, I've had to fill out this application for this money 3 times because they keep changing criteria. It's like, it's like a carrot and you put it in front of the rabbit. As soon as you get to it, then you take it back a little further and start over. And that's the type of things that I've been dealing with and the obstacles and the hurdles that they've created. And some of our people have just gotten frustrated and gave up and walked away and said, to heck with it.
Okay, for just public record then, I will, part of our show, directly reach out to the mayor to see if she'll come be part of this show and ask some direct questions of her. So in response to what's happening, what type of actions are you looking at taking in terms of galvanizing people to address that issue?
From my teachings and the folks that groomed me up, it's all about organizing. And what I'm doing now is attempting to collect as much information as possible from people that was distracted, discouraged, and just blatantly turned off from the process and had to give up. We're going to try to get these people, because this is going to be a part of our history, whether we like it or not. And so it's important now to accurately document the challenges, the ills, and the injustices that were inflicted upon our people by our people. And we need to put that in writing. And that's what we're doing now is in the phase of documenting these ills, because at some point in time in the days to come, there's more money on the way. And what we're saying as business owners, as people in the community, we here do not trust the corrupt political structure to do this. We want to have access to go directly to the federal government and have those funds sent directly to the people.
Okay, we got to take another break.
As we feel the darkness pressing in upon us, both personal needs and needs in the world, society as a whole.
I'm going to stop it right there. Good evening. Yours truly, Prince Carter. I got to make a quick call. I got somebody that I'm going to bring on here who is supposed to interview this morning, and I'm going to see if we can get him on the phone now. We had some phone troubles this morning, and we weren't able to get him on, and I'm going to see if I can talk to this brother now.
Hey, Bruce, what's going on?
Brother Pianki, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
All right. Brother Pianki, you know, we were talking earlier this morning about the subject came up about Donald Trump. And knowing that you were probably one of his biggest fans or biggest supporters, the question was raised, how do you feel about Donald Trump today and what he's inflicted upon the African American community?
Donald Trump approval rating is near 70%. Doing a damn good job.
You think he's doing
He's utilizing talent. He's utilizing talent. He's utilizing skill. He's utilizing technology to get things done and to reveal to the American people how they're being ripped off.
Mm-hmm. So now, at one point in time, Brother Pianki, you were a member of an organization that I was very fond of, MBUF.
Yeah.
How do you go from MBUF to supporting Donald Trump? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, MBUF was a school choice, so is Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
MBUF was for less government interference, so is Donald Trump. It's policies. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with Donald Trump. Nobody thought anything wrong with Donald Trump when he took Jennifer Hudson's family and put him up in his hotel to protect him from the fools that was trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, he dated black women for about 3 years. There's nothing wrong with that man. What's wrong with him?
Who dated black women?
Donald Trump.
Well, a lot of white men date prostitutes and things of that nature. There's nothing new about that.
And a lot of black women date lazy fools.
Mm-hmm. So when you say black women date lazy fools, you're talking in terms of what? Be more specific when you say that.
Well, when you say that white men date prostitutes, so you saying that?
Well, rich white men, they have a track record of that.
Well, black men got the same track record.
Mm-hmm. Pianki, do you even like black people anymore?
Some of them I can't stand.
You can't?
Like the ones that carjacked the couple down there at the foot of Grand and Highway 70. I can't stand them. Do you?
No, I don't approve of that. But I'm trying to get to your loyalty and your love and your support for Donald Trump.
There's no loyalty. My loyalty. Donald Trump has political policies that I adore.
How do you feel about Donald Trump taking away Martin Luther King holiday? Do you support that?
He ain't taking away anything. That's up to people to celebrate, states to celebrate if they want to. You can't make a state do something. How's he taking away somebody's holiday?
Well, you know, he said we had too many holidays, and he wanted to eliminate any holidays that were racially motivated or promoted racism.
Somebody tried to say that Kwanzaa is an American holiday. Kwanzaa was created by a criminal. He was a criminal. He tortured black women. He hung them up from the rafters by the ankles, put water holes in their vaginas, and put lit cigarettes on their bodies. He killed Black Panther members.
But I'm trying to figure out what that has to do with Donald Trump. We were talking about Donald Trump.
Well, we're talking about the substance of things that go on.
So you're steadfast on saying that Donald Trump is in the interest of the black community?
Anytime you're in the interest of lowering taxes, anytime that you're in the interest of making sure that we have fair trade and not open trade, anytime that you're in the interest for border security, yes, that's for the interest of black American citizens, Mexican American citizens, Japanese American citizens, Nigerian American citizens.
You don't see the hatred and the racism that Donald Trump promotes and inflicts upon people?
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, a prime example would be January 6th when he went and created a riot at the Capitol and caused people to get injured and lose their lives. Donald Trump is setting the stage for.
Who said he did that? Who charged him with that?
So you're going to play that game? Who charged him with it? He wasn't charged because he was.
Well, you were driving. When's the last time you got a traffic ticket? Was you guilty or innocent?
I was guilty.
All right then. Now that wasn't no game. You was charged for doing something that you done that you just now and then said you was guilty of doing.
No, I didn't say I was guilty. As a black man in America, I'm always guilty until proven innocent. You're not. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But as a black man in America, I'm guilty until proven innocent.
I ain't never experienced that. My kids never have experienced that. My grandson never experienced that.
So because you haven't experienced, it doesn't exist then, right?
Well, then you need to be more specific and detailed. Say maybe some think that. All don't.
Well, I think it. How about that?
Well, that's your experience, parents. Like I said, I never experienced that.
I'm just really lost for words, because you did a 360 in my opinion with this whole Trump thing.
I haven't done no 360. I've been the same way all the time. I never experienced these things, so that's a chance that people experience. You got young men that's shooting up your neighborhoods there around Newstead, Natural Bridge. That ain't no white man making them do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you know that.
The residual effects of the treatment of the white man can cause that. And in many cases, that be the case.
Like what?
Well, when you look at the whole...
In St. Louis, like what?
What I'm referring to, Brother Bianchi, is this. When you look at a system that has been designated and designed to hold black people down and to set a unlevel playing field, for lack of better words, when you take away economic development, when you take away resources for education, when you take away things like...
let's stop on those two right there.
Okay,
let's stop on that two right there. You said resources of education. Like what type of resources?
Well,
buildings?
We talk about buildings. We talk about equipment, computers. We talk about...
All right, then let's stop right there. I built 8 or 11. I have to get my books out. I built 8 or 11 brand new public school buildings in the St. Louis Public School District. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to tell you that those buildings are just as modern as any I've done any place else.
You think so?
I know so. Okay. The last one I done was Vashon High School.
You talking about the school that they didn't even give the kids a soccer field, a track field, a football stadium, a swimming pool, the things that help build school spirit and school morale. You talking about that, Vashon? The one they getting ready to take away and give it to the white folks and kick the black kids out and put them over at Beaumont. That's the Vashon you're referring to?
You see that baseball field across the street on Cass there?
That was there before the high school was even built. That was a neighborhood community park years prior to the school being built. It could be
because my grandson played there.
Bianchi, that baseball field was there before. It was before Vashon was built. That little stadium was there when Senator Banks was a senator, long before the school was built.
That Cardinal Field, it was
rededicated.
Brand new.
It was rededicated years ago, but that's not their field. That's not the high school field.
That field was built to be a top-notch field because I got bids in order for the company to build it up. The same company that I got bids, and they did do Matthew Dickies for the RBI tournament that was held back in like 2014. That field's been there.
But my point is this.
They don't play on it.
It's not big enough for the high school. They should have included it in that empty field.
That's a full-size field. It's even got a warning track on it. What are you talking about? It's not big enough. What is big enough? It's got 90-foot baselines.
So you saying that it's okay?
Stop that, Prince.
Well,
Prince.
I'm gonna stop you because you're going a little too far. I don't appreciate the nonsense. Now you're gonna try to out-talk me and over-talk me. It's not gonna be top-rated. When I talk, you stop, and that's just the way it's gonna be, Bianchi. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome to, but you're gonna have to learn some discipline and respect. This is a brother who, back in the day, was all black power and black movement. And now he's supporting Donald Trump and saying that Donald Trump is in the interest of our people in our community. I just don't get it. I really don't. and I'm not going to waste any more time with him this evening. Back to you, and we're going to take a short segment here. I got to bring something up and get some things situated, and we'll be right back with more of the Prince
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's below me.
You know, I would be one of the first to admit that I am very frustrated with a lot of things that's going on in our community and the injustices that are perpetrated. But I cannot, for the love of God, ignore the fact that a lot of this stuff has been inflicted on our people in our community strategically. Everything from closing down factories and minimizing the resources as it relates to economic development. Everything from the drug infestation. A lot of these drugs that are being pumped into our community and dumped into our people's hands was a part of the strategy. That's another contributing factor to some of the ills that we are plagued with today. I was just looking at the news the other day, and the Justice Department, someone filed a lawsuit against, and they won the lawsuit against Walgreens, and said Walgreens was guilty of knowingly and intentionally filling huge amounts of prescriptions for fentanyl. They were legally putting fentanyl into the community. And I think that Walgreens is probably more than likely not the only one. When you take a people that's suffering, a people that is dealing with depression, a people that is dealing with homelessness, a people that is dealing with joblessness, these people tend to lean toward things, unfortunately, that will make them, or should I say, comfort them during their times of trouble. That is something that has to be dealt with. We have so many people in our community suffering from mental illness and drug addiction. Just imagine a person out in 5 degrees weather in a tent with plastic around it and being offered a warm place to go and refusing to go. That's a sign of mental illness. Those people are just mentally ill, and I don't think that we should just write them off because they have mental illness. I think that we should be compassionate. Yes, some people are addicted to drugs, and we don't know what led those people to those drugs. I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you what led people to drugs, but they got on them, and they're still human beings, and they're somebody's child. And we need to be a little bit more compassionate and find strategic ways to deal with these young people and these men and women that are out here suffering from drug addiction and mental illness. There is nothing from where I'm sitting and what I'm seeing tangible that is available for people that are suffering in these times and the way that they're suffering. I do know that a portion of that ARPA money, that American Rescue Plan money, was supposed to be earmarked and designated toward addressing homelessness, unhoused people as they call them now, and drug addiction. They're talking about pouring a lot of money into downtown St. Louis to try to trick people into coming back downtown. I say until you address the illness of homelessness, the unhoused, and drug addiction and mental illness, people aren't still going to want to go downtown, no matter how fabulous you make it look. I think that no one wants to go in an area where when they come out from eating or having a cocktail or a venue place and their windows are busted out and somebody's gone in and taken out change because they're so desperate and they don't have resources. And then, you know, we have another issue that I believe that needs to be addressed, because we appears of some reason or another have generated a population of young folk that just have no intentions of working on anybody's job. Their mission is to take people's stuff and to rob people and steal cars, and that's how they intend on making their living. You see them, many of them go into these different department stores with these big garbage bags and take all the people's stuff and just walk out the door, and as if there's no repercussions or consequences behind that. Those things are going to cost all of us, because the store owners, if they're going to stay in business, then now they're going to have to increase the prices on other things to cover the things that they lost from people going in there just taking the stuff. We got a number of ills that we're plagued with. You know, we keep hearing about these different infrastructure things that as it relates to our city. If you go down Salisbury, you'll see where the ground just collapsed over there, and they had to shut down a whole major thoroughfare. Apparently, they don't have the resources to get that thing up and going and fixed in a timely manner, so they just shut down the whole street. I remember some years back on Grand and Penrose, that street caved in for a period of time, and they didn't get it fixed. It took them forever to get it fixed. And now, today, if you ride down Grand, you can see that it's beginning to slope down and cave down again right there at Grand and Penrose, in that same spot that they fixed probably, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. But again, it's showing signs of a future collapse, and nobody's saying anything about it. Nobody's willing to do anything about it. We can't fix it. I can't fix it. I thought that the tax dollars were supposed to take care of things like that. We're getting all these taxes and taxes here and taxes there, and they're going up on the taxes, and they're increasing the water bills, they're increasing the trash pickup bills, and all of these things are increasing, but the service is constantly deteriorating. We're getting less and less service and paying more and more money. And it's back to the thing where they say taxation without representation. We're dealing with a lot of that. But has anybody else noticed that street caving in on Grand and Penrose, or are they going to wait till it falls all the way in again? That's some of the things that we need to be looking at and asking if, in fact, we can find ways to make improvements in our community. No one wants to be accountable for what's going on in our community. Nobody wants to take responsibility. And I think and I feel that we all have a role to play. We all have something to do as it relates to the ills in our community. And I just don't understand, for the love of God, why so many people are appearing to be content with what's going on. How do you feel about it? That's a good question. I know for a fact that a lot of people don't necessarily frequent certain areas in our community. I'm looking at this West Florissant corridor on West Florissant and between Grand and O'Fallon Park, which once was a very thriving area. Was an area that was loaded with businesses
and homes and whatnot. But when you go through that area now, it's all but abandoned. It's a desert almost. And you have an organization like the Haruru organization that has made a commitment for the last 7 or 8 years to try to invest into that area, and they're trying to open a bakery on West Florissant and John. And the current powers to be are denying this small African-based group an opportunity to open up a bakery that will create jobs as well as healthy food options in a food desert. So we need to know and understand, why is it that they don't want this organization to open up a bakery on West Florissant and John? What harm would it cause to open a bakery? See, so many tricks and so many games are being played in our community, which attributes to a lot of the deterioration of our neighborhoods and our communities. We have folks that came up with this idea about these moratoriums on alcohol and liquor, as if that was going to solve the problem. You know, I don't see liquor stores and bars a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is we have to find ways to hold people accountable for their business. You don't stop selling alcohol or take away the liquor licenses and think that that's going to solve the problem, because people that want to drink, they're going to drink. If they have to drive 5 blocks over or 10 blocks over, you know, when we were kids, when we went, well, not kids, but when I was younger, and we wanted to drink, and the alcohol and the liquor stores closed at 1 o'clock and 1:30. This was even before the 3 o'clock license had kicked in. We would get in our car and ride over to Cahokia or Illinois, because at that time they were staying open 24 hours a day. And so we can go at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and go over there and grab us a bottle of whiskey and a couple of 6-packs of beers, and then come back and stay up all night playing cards and drinking. I mean, there are a lot of people that did that. We weren't the only ones. But, I mean, I'm saying that to say this. The stage has been set, and those individuals that are outside of our community came in and just predominantly taken over your liquor stores, your confectionaries, your gas stations, and they have cut a deal or struck a deal with politicians to put things in place to make it almost impossible for other folks and people of color to even get these liquor licenses and things like of that nature. You got to have a strong bank to get a liquor license now. You have to have some political connections to get a liquor license now, you know. And even back with this American Rescue Plan money, let's jump back on that for a second. They had stipulations in there which was illegal and wrong. At one time, you had to go and get a letter of approval from your alderperson, and they took that out and then made it where you had to get a letter from neighborhood organizations. A lot of the neighborhood organizations are controlled by political structure. So you're pulling the wool over my hand in one way and creating the illusion that you're trying to be fair, when in reality you're being the same obese and corrupt system that you've been. And that's one of the things that I've been encountering, running into. I have people that tell me, man, you should not say anything. You should just chill out and be quiet. And that's part of the problem that we have. Everybody is afraid to speak truth to power. Everybody's afraid to tell what's really going on. And we have to stop being that way. We have to find a way to make it known that we are not pleased with these things, and we need to call folks out. You know, I set up at the mayoral debate the other day, and I witnessed our current administration just tell a blatant lie to the people, and they said I wasn't supposed to say something, but I did. The question was asked of the mayor, what part of the city does she live in, and where could people expect to run into her at? And this sister is so disengaged with North St. Louis. She said she live in the West End, which she does. And then she said people could expect to run into her with a big smile on her face as she looked at me and said, Harold's Chicken or Union. But she's so disengaged, she didn't know that Harold's Chicken has been closed for almost 2 years. And so now I'm saying that she really revealed who she was and what she was about. And that was not being honest with the people. She don't go to no Harold's Chicken. Harold's Chicken is closed. Why would she even say that? So, I mean, that's just an example of some of the things that we get from our so-called leaders. And we don't have folks that are willing to willing to be honest with us on all platforms. And now the brothers sending me texts about Obama because he's so in love with Trump. He's so in love with Trump. He wants to bash Obama. Obama didn't do everything I wanted him to do. He wasn't the president that I wanted him to be, but I don't think he was a bad president. I think he did get some things accomplished, much of which Donald Trump is trying to strip away, everything from education to health care. How do you feel about education being stripped down and broken down and dismantled by this current administration? I think Donald Trump is going to be real bad for this country and for black folks especially. I just think that he's on the road to punish folks that he doesn't agree with, people that he don't care for. And I think it's going to come back to haunt this country. I think that we need to be about the business of organizing and unifying in our communities to prepare for what's to come. I think that we need to make sure that we do everything in our power to arm ourselves with the necessary information. And we got all these folks want to run for different offices, but rarely do we take the time to really vet them and choose the right candidate. Oftentimes we vote for who we like or the color of their skin or how they dress, what type of speech they give. We're a sucker for a good speech, and oftentimes those speeches are written by somebody else, and they find ways to make sure that we, in fact, don't get the best interest when it comes to people that represent us. I don't know of anybody that I can really point my finger to and say that this person is really in the interest of the masses of our people in our community. And I'm looking for that. We do, in fact, have some folk that are up and coming, some young elected officials that are trying. I was looking at the Board of Aldermen. I still have a problem with Megan Green being the Board of Aldermen. Megan Green didn't have enough seniority, in my opinion, to be the president of the Board of Aldermen. When Louis Reed was knocked off the board, Sharon Tyus, in my opinion, was the one with the most seniority and knowledgeable, even though Sharon and I don't always agree on everything. As a matter of fact, Sharon doesn't even return my phone calls anymore, and I still, appreciate some of the work that she does at the board because she is vigilant as it relates to speaking in the interests of black folks for the most part. This last thing that they did with this $40 million that they were trying to dump off on North St. Louis from the Rams money was a slap in the face. It's, for whatever reason, historically, it's always been to the point to whereas when it comes to North St. Louis, we can put it on the back burner and take care of everything else because North St. Louis is so disinvested and it's so broke down and tore down and it looks so horrible that it can wait and everything else can be a priority. And I just, for the love of God, I don't understand how so many people can be pleased and content with the cards that have been dealt to the constituents and the folks in North St. Louis. This whole ARPO thing, man, that money was supposed to have been spent by now and invested into a disinvested community. They took away the 11 corridors and broke it down to 4. It's always minimizing. We got people that sit in these different positions and these boards, and they try to figure out ways how to funnel money to their family members and their friends, and leave out the people in the community that need it the most, and that it was designated for. This ARPA money is a prime example of that. If you look at the way they sent out those monies back in, awarded those monies back, attempted to award those monies back in June, it was for family members, friends, people that give kickbacks. And I believe, I'm telling you people, I believe with all my heart that a lot of people that are going to be getting these funds are going to be lined up so that they can help get out the vote for this up and coming election. And that's my theory. That's one of the reasons they procrastinated this thing for so long, so that they can draw the interest. You know, I can't find, I was looking for a article sometime last year. The mayor was at a white business on the south side, and she was boasting about that business being an awardee of some of the ARPA funds. They were lined up. I can't even remember the name of it, and it'll come to me, or I'll find it. Somebody will bring it to my attention. But they were getting monies from the interest of the ARPA funds. Now, you take the money that was earmarked for disinvested areas in North St. Louis, and you sit on those monies and keep those monies from the people that it was sent from, but you're willing to take the interest of some of those money and give it to white folks on the south side. Now, I'm not making this up, folks, and if I'm wrong, I challenge anybody to correct me, but I don't care who you are or where you sit. I believe, in my opinion, that's dead ass wrong. And I just want people to understand that I'm not upset with the mayor. I'm not mad at her. I'm highly disappointed. I'm highly disappointed because she told others that she wanted to help erase the Delmar divide, and the federal government gave her a $500 million check to start with, and somehow or another she either dropped, lost, or misplaced her eraser, and left out poor folks in North St. Louis. You got the folks talking about that rent money that they were promised that still haven't gotten it. It's no excuse for these things. This money was not created or generated by the mayor, the Board of Aldermen, or SLDC. That money was sent by the federal government. So all they had to do is make sure they got it to the right people. And it's taken them too long to do that. You got educated people with degrees that struggle to figure out how to get money to poor black folks in North St. Louis City. That is beyond my comprehension. And just like that one little brief interaction I had with the mayor, and she inboxed me, and we were talking through inbox or whatever you call it, through the Facebook, and she told me that I have no idea how hard or how difficult or how many strings attached to spending federal money. And I just told the sister, I said, you know, those strings are attached and those barriers are attached because you're not supposed to spend it. You're supposed to get it to the people that it was sent for and allow them to spend it. And that's the problem that I've had with this whole thing. I want people to understand this is nothing personal, but you cannot tell me that the federal government sent money here. They didn't tell me. I figured it out on my own. Let me start there. Excuse me. They didn't tell me. I had to connect the dots and put it all together on my own and do my own research to learn that the federal government had sent this money out of that $1.9 trillion of American Rescue Plan money for my people in my community in North St. Louis. And those that look like you and I chose to sit on it and suck the interest off of it, and then try their best to figure out ways to prevent and keep people such as myself and others from getting the money. Even though I qualify for the funds, even though I'm in the middle of the hood census tract, they're still working night and day and throwing everything under the sun to prevent me from getting those funds. And I am not willing to just give up. I don't know how. I have to keep fighting for it. And maybe by the time the fight is over, they gave it all away and won't have none left for me anyway. But we'll deal with that when that day comes. But in the interim, I was supposed to be given some money starting December 30th, according to St. Louis Development Corporation that did not come to pass, and it still hasn't come to pass. And I've done everything that was required, everything that was requested, and I meet the criteria on all four corners of being eligible for those funds. And just imagine how many other people that don't have the fight in them, don't have what it takes to stand up and speak for themselves. They're just giving up. And that's what they've banked on. That's what they've done. And it's a bad thing. It's bad. It's real bad. And we need to really, really look at these things, people.
It's all about money. Holding you there, sucking the government with funding, the state. Holding you in college for 4 and 5 years, when if the college taught you right, you could be out of there in 2 years. Right. As the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if you start where you want it to end, start there and see how fast the people's minds will grab it. Before you know it, you have attention and you have devotion, because you are working with the speed of the new mind that God is creating. And that's why the world, this world, is falling. You got people so wise and so wicked. They know how smart the children are, but they intentionally dumb them down. Because if you're too smart, you'll peep the game that's being played. We can't have you too smart, Negro. You'll see the game that we're playing on you, and you'll revolt against us. And we can't have that. So let's put more fluoride in the water. They say it's to protect your teeth from having cavities. Lies. Right. We didn't have fluoride in the water when I was coming up, and we hardly knew what a cavity was. But all your mouths are filled with cavities, and you got fluoridation in all the water. But it's a kind of a chemical that dulls.
1 second. Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Chester Asher. Chester is an advocate for education. Chester, would you tell the listening audience who you are and what's your mission right now?
Yeah, my name is Asher. I'm a former educator and educational consultant, and I founded and work with Coalition with STL Kids. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to education equity in St. Louis. We are fighting to make sure that all kids have an access to a quality education. And right now, the fight is with St. Louis Public Schools, SLPS, as the biggest provider of education to our children. And it is failing miserably with about 20%. Only 20% of kids are reading on grade level. That means 80% of kids are not reading on grade level. And according to the most recent state data, it's getting worse.
Okay, brother Chester, can I stop you right there? I want to see if you can hear this. I got something I want to see if you can hear.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the board for presenting.
Can you hear that?
Substantially in terms of the length of time on academics. And so thank you for that. But we still need more nitty-gritty, more data, more benchmarks, more progress. Because despite, I think, the perception that this board leadership in particular tries to portray, this district is failing. This is the 3rd year in a row the APR has been below 70%. According to DESE, this district should be unaccredited. Sadly, DESE is as problematic when it comes to accountability as you are when you consider your former superintendent. And they're not holding you accountable, and the only ones suffering are the kids. I heard here, it's funny how you split data to talk about improvements, Because according to the Post-Dispatch, ELA scores declined by 1.5%. Math scores declined by 0.5%. So whether you're looking at different subgroups or just improvement in terms of the percentages that met their goals, this district is getting worse academically. You want to market more kids to come to enroll in SLPS? Improve your academics. Kids can't read. I don't know if you saw the article about students at Vashon reading on the 4th grade level. Because not everyone can come to a Gateway STEM, because it's a magnet school. Not everyone can come to the #1 school, high school in Missouri. Not everyone can go to Metro, because they're magnet schools. You have to apply, and most of our children don't qualify for those schools. So what are you doing for the rest of most of the kids in this district that are failing? 13% of black kids are reading on grade level. Yet this school board does not present any comprehensive plan. You talk about a Saturday school that has 50 kids who attend. This district has thousands of children. What are you doing for the thousands of children instead of coming here and talking about the 50 kids you have in Saturday school and the improvements that they may be making, and trying to fool the public to make it seem as though you're doing something. You're doing something for 50 kids. I'm calling on the public to vote this board leadership out. The elections are this April. Coalition of STL Kids is putting forth candidates to replace this board. We'll have a press conference at the Board of Elections.
Okay, Brother Asher, are you still with me there? Brother,
yeah, give me 1 second, please.
Okay, yeah, just for the record, that was a December 10th address to the board by Brother Chester this past December when he talked about so many of our children failing, when he talked about the board creating the illusion that everything is fine by harping over the 50 children out of the 17,000+ that are doing excellent. But we got so many others that are being left out and left behind. And what are we doing for those children? Why should we create the illusion that things are so well when they really, in reality, they're not? We have issues for the umpteen years as it relates to the educational structure for our children. And that's why I wanted to talk to this brother this evening. Are you back, Chester?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so now again, I want you to share with the listening audience when you talk about creating the illusion that the current board is doing so well, the current board is making so much progress with 50 children, but the other children they're not doing so well with. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and so, you hear the current president, Toni Cousins, actually talking about it a lot. She says the district is making progress. The district is making progress. She actually said our reading scores are growing. Now, what she's maybe alluding to is that their APR improved. The APR is an annual performance report that the state gives for every school. I think they went from like a 63 to a 65. And that, as we know, is still a failing grade if this was a classroom. And now that state report includes, like, if the district has a plan, how their finances are. It includes a lot of things, some of which don't have anything to do with academics. So they're talking about improvement, but not about academic improvement. Because, I actually, on my Facebook page, we actually go to the state website and show people that last year, actually in 2023, the reading scores for the district were 20.8% of kids reading proficiently. Last year, in 2024, that dropped to 20.3. And so, to some extent, that's an insignificant drop. It's only 0.5%. But what gets me is the lie, the absolute lie that they are telling to say that the district is improving. That is a complete and utter falsehood and is only intended to dupe and deceive the public, to bamboozle us to thinking that things are going in the right direction, and we should even think about giving this lady another 4 years in that seat as board president when less kids are reading under her supervision. Actually, when she came in the district, I believe the reading scores were around 23% proficiency. Still horrible.
Absolutely.
But they've declined. And they've continued to decline. And so the idea that she can even and again, it's not just her. What gets me is she is the board president, but she's one person. You had 6 other board members along with the superintendent sit there and just nod their heads while this lady openly, flatly tells lies about how kids are improving. You got to be one cold-hearted person to lie about kids and children, just so that you can get another term, even though that you have proven that you are unwilling and unable to help out more kids read. And when you look at black kids, and we know that most of kids who go to SLPS, about 80% of them are black. We know that most of the white kids actually attend schools like Metro and McKinley and the gifted and talented and the selective schools.
The best of the best.
We know that exactly. But most of the kids in SLPS are black kids who don't actually have that privilege or opportunity to attend those schools. And when you look at those kids, we're talking about 13% of kids are reading on grade level. That means 87% of kids cannot read on grade level. And what they would have you believe is that, that's the parents' fault. You're telling me that 87% of the parents of our schools don't care about their kids reading, that don't try to read with them at night and when they get home, that don't try to help them, that aren't invested in our children's education. That is not the case. I used to run Northside Community School on the north side, and I've worked with many schools within the city, and most parents, I would say 95% of parents, actually care and are involved in the lives of their children. So this blame that they're trying to put on parents is also not acceptable. Is also really just feeds into the racist lies that black parents don't care about their kids.
Well,
that black parents are more.
That's the furthest thing from the truth. A number of parents care. There are a number of parents that have children that are doing well, but as we stated earlier, the masses aren't doing so well, and that's what we have to be more concerned with. Is what is the problem with the masses, and how do we correct that? What is the solution to address the ills with the masses? You got folks that's sitting on the school board, and I don't understand this. Maybe you can help me understand. How is it that you can have people that sit on this board, and then it's proven without a shadow of a doubt that they have misappropriated monies through credit cards, eating at 801 Chop House, going to get the nails done, the toes pedicured and manicured? How is it these people are still allowed to remain in those positions after they mismanaged monies that was designated for the children?
Because they think we are fool enough to vote them back in office because we don't know no better. And if we do know any better, we're not going to get to the polls, and we're not going to vote them out April 8th. And so anyone within earshot, please make sure that you mark your calendar for April 8th. Make sure that you show them that we are not to be bamboozled. We are not to be fooled. We are not to be taken advantage of. And we will vote out Tony Cousins on April 8th and vote in candidates who actually care and have the expertise to run this school district successfully. So one of the things we've done at the coalition is really pull together a number of candidates from different areas of expertise in different fields to really together improve the school district. Because, listen, you can vote for one individual, and that individual, if they're the only vote to improve the school district, they're going to get outvoted every time. So what we're doing is putting together a slate. We put together a slate of three, because right now only 3 seats are up. Three candidates this time around, and we're going to put 2 candidates together for the fall so we can have a majority. So this April 8th, we're asking everyone to really make sure that in their mind they have Crystal Barnett, who founded Bridge to Hope, which is a parent advocacy organization. So she is dedicated and has the expertise when you talk about transparency and community and parent involvement. Crystal Barnett. We have Dr. Zachariah Davis, who is a teacher who actually used to teach for SLPS, now teaches at Cardinal Ritter. His eldest child, one of his children, graduated from Metro, and he has his another child going into the schools, into SLPS this fall. He brings the educational and academic expertise to make sure that our programs are hitting the benchmarks so that kids can read and do basic math. Then we have Andre Walker. Andre Walker is a financial advisor and has the financial expertise to really look at credit card statements, to look at the budget, and to make sure things are adding up and people aren't pillaging our public funds for their personal excesses and their personal luxuries. So we're not sending the superintendent off to Japan for $10,000 while kids in the city don't have a tutor to help them read. So again, that is Crystal Barnett, Dr. Zach Davis, and Andre Walker for school board for this April 8th. We need the whole slate. It's not enough. Some people, I've talked to people and they're like, oh, I know Crystal, yeah, I'm definitely going to vote for her. And some people are like, oh, yeah, I know Dr. Zach Davis, I'm going to vote for him. It is not enough to have one person on that board who actually has the competence to reform it. We need eventually we need the whole board to change. And so that's why it's crucial that people vote the slate. We're saying vote the slate April 8th with Crystal Barnett, Zach Davis, and Andre Walker.
And also, Chester, just for the record, I'm going to extend an invitation to Sister Cousins to come on and give her side of the story as well. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, as it relates to this past superintendent, how is it that a person can make over $200,000 and they still want to use the school's credit card to get massages and pedicures and manicures when you're already making $200,000, you can care for those things on your own and not have to utilize the kids' money. And that's one of the biggest things that I talked about. I also wanted to interject here, if you don't mind, when we talk about the schools, this has been going on for quite a while now. The deterioration of the schools. So many schools are closing down, and we're busing these kids. Is there any hope in the future that perhaps we can stop busing the kids and provide learning institutions in their own community where they don't have to leave their community to get properly educated?
Well, I think the reality right now is that some more schools are going to have to close, right? And that is one of the things that had been noted many times by the former financial director at SLPS. She said that financially the schools are going to have to close. The SLPS currently has to provide upkeep for a bunch of already closed buildings. You have schools that were built for 2,000 kids that have 100 kids in them, and part of the busing issue is that they have to supply buses throughout the city for a number of different buildings where it'll be much more efficient to be able to bus rather than having 3 or 4 separate schools they're busing kids to when all of those kids could fit in one school, this idea that we have similar school districts in the area that have literally half the number of schools and more kids. And so we have 60-something schools, and it is just inefficient. And we're going to be really bleeding money and wasting money as long as you have schools that are again built for thousands of kids and only have a few hundred in them. And that's going to be a bitter pill to swallow for a number of parents, right? Because no parent wants the school that's in their community to close. But until we can make SLPS attractive, a successful school district where parents can be assured that, you know what, if my kid goes here, they will learn to read, their reading will improve, they will learn to do basic math, and they will learn to do, ideally, advanced math. Until we can make SLPS that type of school system, it's going to continue to bleed kids and money and call for more and more closures, which, like you said, will just make it that less parents actually have a school in their community that they can send their kids to, and they have to bus or drive. And we all know that there are a number of issues with that. And so the sad truth is more school closures are going to happen. And even the board has admitted that. But, of course, because it's an election season, they said they're not going to do anything this year, right? Because they don't want anybody to vote them out this year or so close to election. So even though they know it's needed, they're not going to touch it. They're going to wait for the next board. And so whoever that next board is, they are going to have to close some schools. And that means some parents, right, will have to be bused or will have to drive their kids to school. But the hope is that we make SLPS a place where enough people are coming back to the city, enough parents are putting their kids, rather than in private schools or in some of our charter schools, enough of them are saying, you know what, schools are actually improving. I can actually return my child to SLPS, and then hopefully they can start reopening schools in neighborhoods. But things will only get better when less kids can read and less kids can do math on grade level.
One of the things that I was troubled with, and I was talking to a gentleman that's doing boiler repairs at the schools, and they go around and either repair or replace boilers for the schools. And he was telling me that Vashon High School needed a new boiler, but they're not putting one in because, according to him, they're in the process of selling Vashon High School to the people at NGA, and they're going to move the kids from Vashon over to Beaumont facility. And what do you think? How do you feel about that type of scenario?
I heard that as well, but I don't know if that's just a rumor or if that is actually happening. But either way, the board needs to be transparent, right? Like I said, school closures are going to be necessary, but you shouldn't be doing it in the darkness. You shouldn't be doing it behind closed doors. These are public schools, so you should, if you have
prepare
to,
the people, get them informed and prepare them. But you know, one of the things, Chester, I've noticed the few times that I've gone down to the board meeting, and I don't like it, when they sit there and they talk about voting on these different I call them codes. They don't say what it is they're voting. They call out a group of numbers, and you have no way of knowing what those numbers are associated with. And it's like you're not being totally transparent with the community because you're calling number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they'll take a vote on that, and we don't even know what it is. I mean,
and that is intentional. And one of our asks, and the reason why we decided that, at some point we said, you know what, we just have to replace this board because they have no interest in being transparent. They have no interest in helping our kids. One of the things we asked them is, hey, you all are reading off these numbers and voting on millions of dollars.
And we don't even know what it is.
You're saying agenda item 050124. And the public has no, and we asked them, we said, hey, can you print out for the public so in addition to the agenda, we can see actually what's being voted on? Tell me if they even responded to our request. So not only did they not respond, but more importantly, they have not ever provided the actual consent agenda items so that the public can actually see what they're voting on. Listen, you have to sometimes dig through the website to find this consent agenda. And most parents, even if they can actually make it to a meeting at 6:30 at night that sometimes runs until 10:30 at night, even if they can make it, they're not going to be able to know what's going on. And that is intentional. And that is under the leadership and knowledge and intention of deliberate action of President Tony Cousins. That's why she has to go. Because, listen, I don't know what this lady is like in her personal life, but as a board member, she is absolutely horrible. She has no regard for the kids of St. Louis. She has no regard for the parents of St. Louis. She has no regards for the teachers. She has no regards for the taxpayers. She has no regard for any community members. And sadly, as a black woman, she has no regard for black kids. You cannot continuously refuse to serve and address the issues of a school system that serves 80% black children and have any regard or respect for them. That is not possible.
From your perspective, Brother Chester, what is it really going to take to turn this whole educational structure around and get our young people and their young minds headed in the right direction? What is it really going to take?
Accountability. It is going to take accountability, and actually before accountability, high standards, then accountability. Part of the issue, one of the requests that we've been making really for the last 2 years now, we said, hey, listen, you only have 13% of our kids reading on grade level. What is the goal for next year? Do you want a 5% increase? Do you want a 10% increase? What is the goal? Because if you don't have a goal, you can't hold anyone accountable. You can't support your superintendent to do the things necessary to reach that goal because you haven't even set a goal.
You don't have a measuring device to measure your accomplishment, what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. So they have refused to even set a goal. So that right there is a recipe for failure. Either they don't want to be held accountable, or they actually subscribe to the racist belief that our kids and our teachers can't achieve. And we're not down with that. We don't agree with that at all. That's why we've been so insistent on setting a goal. And that's why also we just realized, we're just talking to the wrong people. If you don't even believe in our kids enough to set a goal, how would you hold anyone accountable for achieving that goal? Exactly. You wouldn't. And so that's why first of all, we need to have a high standard, set a goal, and then hold the superintendent accountable for achieving that. But again, this board is just so ill-equipped to hold anyone accountable because they can't get their own business in order as a board, let alone hold the superintendent accountable to certain benchmarks and a plan to improve schools.
When I looked at their report, I thought maybe the problem may be they're too busy trying to figure out how to get to the 801 Chop House and not focus on the children. That's just my observation. One of the things that I would like to talk to you about and see what your opinion is as it relates to how is it that we have gotten to this place that we're at with our children. I've heard some parents recently, just a couple of months ago, the lady was saying they were moving to the county because they wanted to be in a certain school district for their children, and it was based on where they live. Is that something that we need to look at, something we need to examine as it relates to maintaining and keeping our children in the St. Louis Public Schools, like you said, increase the standards and provide more academic achievement for the masses, opposed to, as you stated, the 50 or so children that go to the program on Saturday. We got to figure out how to get the other 17,000+ up on that level as well.
Exactly. And so, it's funny because when we criticize this school board, they try to make it seem like, oh, you don't like SLPS, you don't support public schools. And really, we are the biggest supporter of public schools. We are the biggest supporter of SLPS because we know that if they don't change their current ways, this district will be dissolved. The state is already talking about taking over the police department. They're going to take over, and they've done it before. They're going to take over SLPS.
Now, when they do that, now when they take over, if they take over, there won't be a board anymore. Is that correct?
Usually they just appoint their own board.
They appoint their own board. So those that that would be elected would be kicked to the side, and the state takeover would require them to bring in their own appointed board members.
Exactly. If they do that, or if they dissolve the whole district, like was done in New Orleans, and they only had charter schools, they got rid of the entire public education system.
Have you been following this Donald Trump piece and the dismantling of the educational structure from Donald Trump?
Yeah. And they're talking about dismantling the Federal Board of Education.
What impact would that have on SLP?
Oh, it's unsure at this point, because what they're talking about doing is getting rid of the Federal Department of Education, and then redistributing those funds that would go to the federal government to the states. And so there is a world in which SLPS and public schools would actually get more money, because now you're not paying for the overhead and the different programs at the Federal Department of Education, and you get that money in your state coffers. Now, how the state, right? How will Missouri have discretion over that? Or will they have to put all that money back into education? I hope they would, but we don't know, right? And so it's really a big question mark as to whether that money actually reaches back to the school. But there is a world in which the states actually get more money, because rather than receiving federal funding, that funding becomes state funding, because the money that would have gone to the Federal Department of Education now goes to the states. And now the states have more money to spend on their schools. But of course, we know money doesn't always trickle down to where it should. So that's really an open question.
I've taken in everything that you said thus far, and I'm going to be reaching out to Sister Cousins, because I'll be honest with you, she had me tricked, I guess. I believe that she actually cared about the children. I actually believe that she was concerned about the educational system, and I was led to believe by her that she wanted the schools and the children to do better. And you're telling me just the opposite.
Yep, and so please.
But you're down there. You're down there more than I am. You're down there just about at every. At one time, you were actually banned as well. You and Bill Monroe.
Yep. And last time, actually in January, they kicked me out of that January meeting because I said her name. I said this board fired the superintendent for the same spending that President Tony Cousins is engaged in. And she said, you can't use my name. And security surrounded me. They turned off my mic, and they escorted me out.
Really?
Because I said Tony, and you can watch it. You should find that
on
clip
YouTube.
On
YouTube. I can get it on YouTube.
Yep.
And that was a January. The January's meeting, that was last month.
January meeting. Yep. And they kicked me out because I said Tony Cousins is guilty of the same waste and abuse that
Scarlett,
former superintendent, Scarlett was guilty of. And because I said her name, they kicked me out of that meeting.
What happened to freedom of speech? It doesn't apply?
But that's why I'm suing the school district. That's why I'm suing them. Wash U has taken up our case, and with the help of Wash U, we are suing SLPS for their violation of not just mine, but many other First Amendment rights.
Now, let me ask you this then. If you're suing the school, and let's hypothetically, let's say you win, wouldn't that be taking money away from the children?
Now, any money we get, I'm going to give back for tutoring, for tutoring within SLPS, and that money can only be used for tutoring SLPS students.
Speaking of tutoring, I was brought to my attention this morning. There's some supposed to be some resources available for children with online tutoring that I just heard about that today. You have any knowledge of that?
No, I know that in SLPS there are some opportunities for some kids to get online tutoring, but we know that there are a lot of kids who don't respond well to the online programs, that sometimes have a lot of technical difficulties, and rather we want to engage in the high dosage tutoring that has been researched, where tutors actually come to the school and in person during the school day offer at least an hour of tutoring at least 3 times a week, based in the science of reading. So making sure they're focusing on phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary, comprehension, the basic building blocks of strong reading skills. And so we're advocating for that every child who is behind in reading be afforded a free tutor, not just something online. I mean, if it works better for a child, yes, then some children they respond better, but most respond better in person. And so that's why we're working with Black Men Read to provide tutors really all over St. Louis.
Black Men Reads. What is Black Men Reads?
Black Men Read is an organization that is part of the coalition, founded by Keon Watkins and Mario Cables, that are dedicated to specifically for Black men to realize and explore the joy and benefit of reading. But through that, they have developed a Building Brilliance tutoring program where they also tutor kids. And so, I've been tutoring with them in Normandy last year, and this year they're at the leadership school, and they're tutoring one-on-one. And it's open to just more than just Black men, but anyone who is interested in tutoring and actually at offering at least an hour a week, please go to blackmenread.org, or you can go to Coalition of STL Kids and sign up for our tutoring committee, and we'll get you in touch with the right people.
Chester, I got a question for you. I want to ask you this. If let's hypothetically, let's say that if there was a single mother that was listening to this program right now, and this mother has done all she can know and do to help her child, and she just can't seem to pull it together, and she knows that her child needs help, and she's just not able to help them the way the child needs help, what would you say or recommend to that single parent?
They can call us. Call us. Go to Coalition of STL Kids. Call us there, or send a message, or join one of our committees so we can help navigate whatever that issue is. Actually, another member of our coalition is the organization Crystal Barnett founded, Bridge to Hope, and they specifically help parents advocate for their child and work with the parent and the school to make sure that child gets what they need. And so, really contacting Bridge to Hope.
Okay, you got a phone number. You got a phone number that you said they can call.
Yeah. So let me grab that real quick.
While you're grabbing that, I just want to piggyback off of something you said some years ago. I was in Michigan, and they had a program similar to that. It was called parent enhancement classes. They were trying to enhance parents to help the children be better students. Excuse me. And I thought about that program when you talked about parents wanting to help the children. Some parents aren't able. I mean, if your child comes home with some homework, if you can't understand it, how can you help them? You can't.
Exactly.
You know, so there needs to be an all-out effort to make folks aware of the resources and how to get the help. You know, if you want your child to get help, there needs to be a avenue for them to travel to get the help for their children. And whenever you get that number, I want to put it out there.
I have it. Yep, it's 314-816-0087.
And that is
Again,
the number
that's
2.
314-816-0087. That's the Coalition of STL Kids. But we will, if you need tutoring support, we'll plug you in with Black Men Read. If you need help or support for parents, or to advocate or to help navigate something at your child's school, we'll plug you in with Bridge to Hope, or we'll do it ourselves in terms of helping you, depending on what the need is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think we need to make sure that people are aware of the resources and the help that's available, because you can't take advantage of something that you don't have knowledge that it exists. And I know for a fact that there are parents that know that their child is struggling and not making the grades, and they may be, unfortunately, unable to help them. So they need to be knowledgeable of the help is out here. You have to seek it. You have to ask for it. You have to reach for it.
Yep.
And that's good to know.
And you know, I was on the Mayor Bosley show a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they had said, and they said, we're gonna ask Tony Cousins to come here so that we can have this conversation together, right? Like so that if she says something that I disagree with, I can dispute it right in the moment, and similarly, right, give her the opportunity to dispute something that I said. She refused. She only came on there, of course, without any opposition when I wasn't there, so that she could try to spin her lies. And so, hey, listen, I'm open for any time. If you want to bring me and Tony on,
I would love to do that. We can do that.
So we can get to the truth. And listen, I highly doubt that a liar will want to face the truth. But I'll tell you right now, I'll make myself available anytime that she's available, so that we can get to the truth and the public can see for themselves and decide whether whether she has been good for this district, or whether she has continued the destruction of our public school system and the degradation of the achievement of our kids.
Okay, all right. I'm getting ready to wrap it up, Brother Chester. In closing, can you again give us any input that you may want the listening audience to know about your organization and the things that you're doing in the short term?
Yeah, and so listen, we have meetings. Everyone go to cwstlk.org or coalitionofstlkids.org. You can go on our Facebook or Instagram or Twitter to find us. Just send us a message anytime. We have meetings every 2 weeks on Zoom, and then every 2 months in person. Right now, every Saturday from 10 to 12, we are actually going canvassing, knocking on doors, making sure people know about Crystal Barnett, Andre Walker, and Zach Davis, because it really, at this point, the State Board of Education has failed to help SLPS. We realize that we have to help ourselves, and we have to make sure that we have people who care and are interested in change. We cannot vote the same people into office who have been in office for the last failed 4 years. That makes no sense. if our reading scores are declining, if more and more parents are saying, I don't want to send my kids to SLPS, why in the world would we elect the same president like Tony Cousins to maintain her seat? Because she's going to maintain that horrible status quo. We have to have new people. And so, again, Crystal Barnett, Zach Davis, and Andre Walker, that is the biggest thing. That is the biggest lever for change that we can make right now. So whether people want to support us with phone banking, whether people want to support us with canvassing, whether people want to donate so that we can make sure more people know about their candidacy, but it is of the utmost importance that we get her out of office and a slate, a team of people who are knowledgeable and hopeful and believe that black children and all children can achieve.
I heard that, Brother Chester Asher. Thank you so much for taking the time. The door is always open to you, my brother. And if any of those candidates want to come on and talk about their vision for our children and the educational structure as a whole, they're more than welcome to do so. The door is open. We welcome any input from anyone that is about to try to bring about some overdue and needed change when it comes to our children's educational system. Thank you so much, Brother Chester.
Really appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. That's Brother Chester Asher. He is an advocate for education and doing things to try to help young people and young minds in our community. Our educational system is really in trouble, people. And our young people are struggling and suffering as a result. And we got to find ways to attempt to talk to people that are willing to bring about some change. Somebody called, texted me and said they couldn't get through the line. It's 314-536-1458. 314-536-1458. We had some problems with the phone lines early, and we had to make some temporary adjustments, and we're going to be dealing with that. But again, there's a school board meeting. I'm not telling anyone who to vote for or how to vote, but I do support Bill Monroe. I support David Jackson and whoever else you want to vote for. But I think that we need to be about the business of finding ways to get folks in these positions that care about our children. I'm going to be talking to some of the mayoral candidates in the days to come. I want to talk to Brother Mike Butler with the big old signs out there say, I like Mike. I want to talk to Kara Spencer. I want to talk to Andrew Jones. And if the mayor wants to talk, I'd be willing to talk to her. But I don't think she's going to be willing to talk to me because I've been unable to talk to her for the last 2 years with the exception of some inboxing that we've done. Again, I am not by any ways mad at the mayor. I'm not angry with the mayor. I'm just highly disappointed. My mom taught me a long time ago, you can't get mad at people for being who they are, but I can be disappointed. Disappointed in them sitting on monies that was sent for my people in my community so that they can draw the interest off of it and allow people to continue to suffer and lose their businesses and livelihoods. King Prince Barbecue, a lot of people don't know it and can't understand it, but for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been operating since COVID. We've been operating on life support, and with a lot of the things constantly going up and not having the necessary tools and resources and operating on limited hours, we can't operate like we once did. It's been a struggle, but I'm not ashamed of the struggle. I'm not ashamed of having to go through what we're going through. I just think it's sad because the federal government sent money to aid and assist so that we wouldn't have to face these times the way we're facing them. But again, the powers that be thought that it was better to sit on the money and collect the interest and give the interest to people outside of the HUD census tract and give, you know what, and I'm going to tell y'all this, and correct me here if I'm wrong. I really believe that some folk need to be really held accountable for even though they didn't get it off, but attempting to give
these monies to your family members and your friends and whatnot, because they were your family members and your friends, opposed to giving it to the people in the hood census tract who it was intentionally sent for. You know, our politics here is so corrupt, man. You know, they went and changed things illegally, as far as I'm concerned, to in fact make it possible for them to give money to people who the money wasn't sent for. You got people that was about to be awarded money that had addresses at Fairground Park. What business do you know operates from Fairground Park? Huh? Think about it. Vacant lots, boarded up buildings. And it's sad that, you know, in 2024, with the access that we have to the information superhighway and what have you, and people still think they continue to bamboozle us and pull the wool over our eyes and lead us astray, and then turn around and make it seem like it's something we've done. You know, why is it that you would rather work so hard and so committed to do everything in your power to keep people from getting money that not only do they deserve it, but they need it. They need it. And it was sent because of the pandemic and the PPP scandals. They didn't want another PPP scandal. We got something worse than that in St. Louis, as far as I'm concerned. But the PPP scandals caused the federal government to say, let's entrust local government to get this money into the hands of actual businesses, and starting with the hood census tract. And our local government figured out a way to circumvent that, for lack of better words, and take the hood census tract off the table, and they narrowed it down from 11 corridors to 4 corridors. And it was just the whole process has been wrong. But again, I'm just one peed in the pot. I'm going to get ready to wrap it up, folks. I got to get ready to get out of here. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to remind everyone, if you can find it in your heart, go to our YouTube channel, King Prince King Prince Carter Speaks, rather. King Prince Carter Speaks. And subscribe. It's a free subscription. You click on that subscribe button, because there are efforts on the way right now to take me off of Facebook. So if you guys don't hear and see me on Facebook, if you don't see a post, you know that they done got me, and that's just what it is. So I post daily, as you all very well know, and when you don't see a post or hear a post, then you know I'm over on YouTube. King Prince Carter Speaks. That's a YouTube channel. If you click on that subscription button, it will send you a notification anytime we go live in real time. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. We've got more shows. One day this week, we're going to be talking to Michael Butler, as well as Kara Spencer. And if Mary Tashar Jones wants to come on, we'll listen to her as well. I believe in free speech. I believe that people should be able to express themselves. I don't have a problem with free speech as long as you're respectful in the process.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I will never say that progress is being made If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's below me.
I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
But the hard truth is that not everyone is sharing in this city's splendor and glory. There are more poor than ever, more families in trouble, more and more people who need help but can't find it.
A struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself.
We believe that all men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
And so we say to all in this nation who would dare listen to us, black, white, Jew, Gentile, Asian, Latino, that we are brothers and sisters in a long and difficult struggle.
I think I'm hearing revolution.